let's just jump into it, shall we? So we've played a number of mono black control variations in the past. There's one that's up on my website. I think there's a lot of different ways to build this archetype. This is a mostly colorless variation, so basically playing one color is free in a mostly colorless deck, 'cause you probably need to run some basics anyways. So we're leaning on Bloodchief's Thirst, Thoughtseize, Agonizing Remorse, and then Hagra Mauling here as a spell land. And then the bulk of our deck, the things we're going to be winning the game with, are things like Karn, Scion of Urza, things that Karn the Creator fetches out of the sideboard with his -2, and then Ugin's here at the top end. So we've got a variety of things that accelerate. We've got Mind Stones and Guardian's Idols. We got some Hedron Archives. We got a couple of sad robots. This card used to be very standard playable, and now it's just like a blip. I think one of the things this archetype has going for it, and honestly, it might be wrong to not have 4 of this card. It's hard to see there's 4 of this card and 3 of this card. It's very possible that only having 3 of these is wrong. I might turn these Solemns into Guardian Idol 4 and Guardian Idol 2 Karn 4, because like having access to Grafdigger's Cage game 1 tends to be very powerful in a variety of matchups. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games here with this and see how it goes. Yeah, it's fine, my man. Till I get annoyed. It's been mostly okay recently. In a way, the Biden-Harris banner in the ticker is kind of like a warning shot. It makes people who are likely to say obnoxious things pipe up for a very obvious reason, and then you get to frag them that way. So they don't get to hang out and give crappy Magic opinions because they got fragged prematurely. Diamante Loco, thanks for the sub gifty, I appreciate it. So probably Mono Black Godparrow's Gift on the other side of the board here. This is notably a matchup where Grafdigger's Cage is not good, and the fact that I don't have other Graveyard Hate in my sideboard could be a real big downside. Perhaps I should have a Tortmod's Crypt in there to fetch up. I can grab, if they don't search it up right away, I can grab a Sorcerous Spyglass to name Geet to the Afterlife. Harlequin, let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thank you for the very generous tier 2 resub for the 12 months at that. Vorsmith, thank you for the 20 months.
Please stop.
Please stop. Would like my Bloodchief's Thirst here. Let's go ahead and start with Agonizing Remorse and see what they have going on. Choosing card converted mana cost 3 or greater. That player discards that card. Massacre Worm. They're far off a Massacre Worm, right? It's not too far off with the Phyrexian Tower. We'll go ahead and we'll kill the Priest here. Thoughts about running a few Crawling Baron for another threat. The person that submitted this deck submitted it with a bunch of Cryptic Caves, but I agree that Crawling Baron is definitely a possibility for the various colorless land slots that this deck has present in it.
A curious choice.
So they get to play Massacre Worm next turn, but I think that's fine. It'll kill this token and draw. It'll kill this token, lose me 2 life, but it's effectively like drawing a card, so I think that's not a big deal. Evening not based. I guess they want to be greedy and try and wait for more value on the Massacre Worm.
You may regret that choice.
I think I'm okay with giving them one more thing to kill.
Truth lies beyond division.
So we'll play this for X's 9. I have 7 mana, plus it costs 2 less. My worm's bigger than your worm. Neener, neener, neener. I showed you mine. It's only fair that you show me yours. They want to trade their 1-2 or their 1-1 for this, that's fine. It's one less thing that does to Massacre Worm. Yes, showing off worms on our hot single stream. So, I'm going to go ahead and board in 2 copies of Spyglass, because I would like to actually draw and cast this card. Extra Agonizing Remorse sounds fine. Solemn seems slow. Cage notably does not impact what my opponent's deck is doing, so God Pharaoh's Gift exiles a creature from the graveyard and then creates a token of it in play as a 4/4, so Cage notably does not impact that in the slightest. This is probably an Extinction Event matchup. Evening cheats. Let's try this. So Spyglass doesn't shut off God Pharaoh's Gift, but it does shut off Gate from the Afterlife finding God Pharaoh's Gift, which usually these decks play 4 gates and they only play 2 God Pharaoh's Gift. So while obviously not a sure thing, it's definitely worth boarding in. You don't know it by looking at it, but this is a 2-lander. Excited to get my second land Thoughtseize here on 1. Chaos Magic Chuck with the 16 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Silent Deadstone. I don't think God Pharaoh's Gift targets, right? You may exile a creature from your graveyard. No, Silent Gravestone does not stop God Pharaoh's Gift. don't think we want to kill that. It's even less appealing to kill it now that they have Gate to the Afterlife in play. We just hang out for now. Hoping to hit another land drop next turn. Evening Jorg, life is swell. Global pandemic aside. I guess something I found out this afternoon that I didn't know this morning that we could talk about is apparently my kid's school district is going to resume in-person classes in October. To which I politely declined to send my children to, but we'll see how that goes for the community as a whole. I hope for the sake of the kids that the science ends up wrong. So, the top line of text here on Gate to the Afterlife that lets them draw and discard will still work, but the bottom pay to activate this will no longer work. So, yeah, to their credit, they are going to continue to have a full remote option. The children that choose the full remote option as opposed to the in-person learning option will have to get a new teacher, though. I think the thing that's kind of awkward is the kids who elect to have the remote option have to change teachers, and then when the going back to school invariably fails because of a spike in cases, the kids that then go back to remote learning will get to keep their same teachers. You know, the children don't choose. The families get to choose. The parents get to choose. Well, that's rude. Kind of rude person would play a Sorcerous Spyglass, chat. Ugin, for being ineffable, certainly feels like Ugin got F'd there, huh, chat? Late stage capitalism is a hell of a drug, Jorg. Yes, fine. It's got 2 lands and 2 ramp spells, so the opponent has a Thoughtseize, won't be able to take those at least. So I assume we're going to lose Karn here. If they have a second discard spell, they could punch through the Extinction Events. Mindstone feels surprising. Because, like, I have a different piece of acceleration to play here, so it feels like an odd one to take. Alright, untapped land, please. I'm ready for modal everything. Big mood. Big mood, ready for modal everything. You and me both. Just like we drew it up, chat. Just like we drew it up.
I do not feel pain.
And to pick a card to let them discard here. Probably just backup Karn. It's to you, Uncle Jeff. Thanks for 16 months. Welcome back. I am not familiar with who that is. Red green sheets. Alright, so we exiled an Agonizing Remorse. Let's lead on Spyglass here and see what they have. So they have nothing that we would want to do. So I'm still going to just name Gate to the Afterlife here. It's their best draw that we can turn off. And then I'm going to go ahead and uptick this rather than taking an Agonizing Remorse that does nothing. Yikes. So we'll probably just Extinction Event evens next turn to keep our Karn alive, keep the board clear.
You are acting unwisely.
You are acting unwisely. Lands, Karn. You're supposed to draw me lands. Come on, Karn. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. How many lands are we playing? We're playing. Is it 25 with the spell lands?
My retribution will be swift. Good choice.
We're on 22 plus 4 spell lands plus some ramp cards. Opponent's seen enough. Goodbye, friend. Ooh. You're CJ's cousin. Oh yeah, the kids were playing Minecraft with CJ today. I think Solemn's kind of medium here. I think I'm gonna go with my gut and add another Guardian Idol and another Karn the Great Creator for curve considerations. We have so much expensive stuff that like having a piece of ramp on too seems pretty important. Yeah, I like that. I like that better. It's been a while. Yeah, this looks good. How much does this cost? Like most things, it's technically free, but the upper limit on how much you can spend is a lot of time or a lot of money. I think we're playing one of these out as a land. Yeah, you can install it for $0. Give it an old try. It has free to play option. The 10-ton hammer. Thanks for the 14 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. You gotta set that reminder on the Google Calendar. That's what I do. I think we're gonna grab Mauling here. Just kill one of these. Want to try and keep the board in check a little bit so it doesn't go too wide, so that way when we deploy Ugin in a couple of turns, he can hopefully survive. Village Rights is a reason to definitely wait on that Mauling. Probably want to play that at their upkeep to be optimal. Will that come up much in the games you play? It's been relevant a few times. Card don't shoot. Thanks for the quarter viewer. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. They're just putting Luris into their hand here. That seems real good for us. They're not adding pressure to the board this turn. Alright, so I've got Karn. And he can go get a thing. Oh, he can just go get Cage, right? Yeah, game 1 Cage sounds great. Right, that's why we're playing this card. Just game 1 Cage. Above average. Turn your deck off. So they get to kill Karn here, but this was like 5 mana, gain 3, get a cage. Read.
There is always another fight.
Hmm.
Our actions determine the course. Stand down.
Evening, Vanu. Without anything like Extinction Event in our main deck, I feel like even if this cage remains in play here, which it's not, we're probably going to die. Because Ugin's going to come down, but they're probably going to even be able to pressure him off the table right away. And without removal insight for Lurrus, we're going to get run down. I mean, cards like Benevolent and Braid are great for that reason, right? Like, they're... I don't know if this is the right play, but it's the funny play, so I'm going to do it. Third time's the charm, chat. Third time's the charm. Cage the elephant. Stay in. Evening, Gummy Mall. Praetorian Soul with the brand new Prime Sport. I appreciate that. Welcome to Oaklandia. Thanks for keeping me around. Wouldn't be here without the support of folks like you. In the Read We Trust. Thanks for the 16 months. Third card is worth the Prime sub. Last week we've lost the war, but we won the battle since we got the Prime sub at least. Yeah, I don't, this build, so, I mentioned at the start, there's a lot of different ways to build this archetype, and this one, as it's been submitted, is electing to not play any copies of sweepers in the main deck, so I think we're quite vulnerable to creature-based strategies like this red-black archetype to start. I'm going to board in one of the cages. I'm going to leave the other 2 in the sideboard to grab with Karn. We do have 4 Extinction Events post-board, so I'll have a little bit more interaction, which is nice. We'll be able to clean up Pyromancer plus tokens at the very least. You don't make your hand better by mulliganing against decks that play Thoughtseize, so just gonna do this and hang out. Yep. Think I want to play a snake for 2. Yeah, historic is, it's finally no longer just big standard, right? It has its own texture to it, for lack of a better term. I really hope, like, whatever changes they make to standard come Monday, make it a very reasonable format, because, like, it would be nice to be able to, like, log into Arena and have, like, 2 different formats that both feel worth playing, right? Like, as I've often said, I think one of Magic's greatest strengths is its history and depth of card pool, and being able to leverage that card pool in a couple different ways on its best client would be nice. Yeah, it used to be that, like, people would ask me, like, well, how do you prevent burnout when playing Magic, Jeff? Like, you just play so much of it. And the answer to that used to very easily be, like, well, I just play so many different formats and I change it up. But, like, with War of the Spark and then Uro and Oko, like, a lot of the Magic formats got very same-Z. So that was, like, no longer a reasonable answer. I think we just do this and get rid of the Young Pyromancer now. I have 6 mana rolled up for Ugin next turn, so... Okay. Yep. Now the question is, do they have... Well, so if they sacrifice the Pyromancer there, I can just name Odd and exile their 1/1. So they can't sacrifice it. Once I'm naming evens or odds, my spell is resolving and they can no longer do anything. One of the things I'm interested to try, that I had talked about this, I talked about this on stream, but if we have good feedback on playing the modified historic format on October 3rd for the next open tournament, I might try doing some other things too. There's a group called the Mythic Society that does a set roulette format on Magic Online that looks really sweet. And I think Arena probably has enough sets in it that you could do something like that on this platform now as well. Where you like kind of mix and match and create your own standard format from a custom selection of cards. So, especially if you are a Twitch sub on October 4th, after we have the next open, I'm going to send out my monthly sub poll, looking for feedback on not only my general content as I always do, but things people like and dislike about the open. So if you like the idea of doing custom formats for them occasionally, that's definitely feedback I want to hear. The three metrics I'll use to judge the success of the opens on are player count, viewer count, and then what the feedback is in the sub surveys. Hey, I'm Asai. Thank you for the brand new Prime support. I really appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed this month with that. One of the other things I'm kind of interested to see too, I think we're just getting another cage here. One of the other things I'm interested to see too is with doing multiple open tournaments per month, does that increase the number of people who sub for the explicit intention of playing in the open tournaments? I don't think they have anything that kills multiple cages at once. I'm just going to do this and play the other cage out now. Finally got my Bezo bucks to you. Thanks for the evening drinks. Thanks for the support. You could just email me back, Great Oxby. Sorry about that. I completely brain farted and mixed up what set those cards were, and I'm assuming you did too, and that's why you submitted it. You submitted it, and I was just like, yeah, those are probably legal. Hello, youngest son. Oh, there's no school tomorrow, so you get to be up late tonight, huh? You got your phone?
How much up points you have?
I have 20 points, yep.
That's full.
Well, in this game, you can get more than 20. So in the other card game, you stop at 20, but in this game, you can go higher.
Start out like a bigger number instead of 20?
Well, you start at 20, but you can go higher.
But you guys would give you more if we say you can go higher.
Now, one of the nice things about Ugin is even when they get exiled like this, we're able to get them back. I don't need to worry about saving the Extinction Event for Kroxa, because we've currently caged the elephant, so that's great. Thora Brand, greetings from Germany. It's 2:32 a.m., but I wanted to drop this off before logging off. Thanks for the support. I appreciate it. This will be up on YouTube in the morning, as always. Yeah, I mean, we could theoretically run like a historical standard format where you just like play an old standard format. You could also like I think the set roulette thing's kind of neat, right? And like, we wouldn't even have to, you know, it's the neat thing about doing custom formats if they're successful is we can literally just do whatever we want. So like, if we want to do something like make our own standard format. It doesn't even have to be random, right? Like I could say, okay, we're gonna build a 6-set standard format, and 2 of them are guaranteed to be guilds and Ravnica allegiance, right? So there's 10 shocklands in it. You could like have like guilds, Ravnica, Ikoria, grab Ixalan. Yeah, something like that would be neat. So like I said, there's a group called the Mythic Society that if you want to play in tournaments like that on Magic the Gathering Online, there's a group that runs tournaments like that that are smaller, I think weekly or monthly at the very least on MTG Melee. But I think doing something like that for our events could be neat. But we'll see. Like I said, it's a little bit of an experiment. I think there's some risk. In my experience making content, a lot of the times people obviously prefer to watch content. They prefer to watch content that are formats that they can play. So it's tough to measure, like there's a lot of uncertainty, like how well our next open is going to be received in terms of both player count and viewer count, because, you know, you can't play this modified historic format on the ladder. And like if we did a set roulette kind of format like that, or mix and match, build our own standard, that's not something players can test on the ladder. Which, speaking of, if you're someone that's planning to play in the open, or you just want to play some modified historic, if you're in the subscribers Discord, there's a modified historic channel in there where folks are talking about the format and setting up battles with each other. The last time we did custom ban lists, did it affect our turnout? I don't remember, actually. But, like, once upon a time does not a trend make, so... Again, just, like, not mulliganing against the Thoughtseize deck, so I'm gonna keep lands and spells. Yeah, the last time we made changes, they were also a smaller amount of changes. Like, last time we banned Teferi, Time Raveler, and Wilderness Reclamation, and arguably neither of those cards were like, for this upcoming event, I've basically cut a card from every one of the top decks in this format, is what we've done. This is my room, dude. I get to be as loud as I want in here. You can't see it on screen chat, but I'm currently being pinched by a tiny child. You're lucky you're adorable, child. Are you adorable? You're like top 3 for most adorable creatures in the house. Well, I guess I did see a grasshopper down here earlier, so maybe not anymore.
No, there's not a grasshopper down here. I don't know what it's...
Bye. I think I'm going to keep the Ugin for now. It might be right to bin the Ugin just because they're likely to pressure my hand more before I get to 8 mana. T-Master Raid, thank you for the 16 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Jeff's quiet even on max sound. It's something that's either on your end or on Twitch's end, because on my end, my microphone occasionally clips into the red area of my mixer. Do I Extinction Event to try and stop them from running away with the game some more? Or do I Karn? I mean, you can make someone who's very loud quiet via audio settings. I kind of want a Scion of Urza here so I can, like, be more guaranteed to hit land drops. If I get Thoughtseize and lose the event, though, I might just lose on the spot. The upside is, though, I could also potentially get more value on the Extinction Event down the line. I'm going to be greedy a little bit and play the card.
Until you have lived it as well chosen.
Or ignoring Karn. Get a little devil in him. Feeling devilish. our Sparkspin Harvest. We saw one of those earlier. That's potential downside to waiting on the Extinction Event too. Hey, evening Milo. Welcome to a live one. Historic, but mythic only. Well, I mean, if this was the right play last turn, it's probably the right play again this turn, right? He says before getting Spark Harvest for a second time. Evening Abysmal. Nice. They gave me the Mind Stone. Don't tell Scotty, chat. Scotty doesn't know. There's still 50 weeks until rotation. Yep, it's almost like it just happened. Alright, chat. Untapped land. Let's nail it. Come on. Papi! Yikes. That's fine. That'll be good next turn. Am I just doing this? I'm at 13. I think I'm supposed to do this. Ginger Weasel, thank you for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, hopefully Urza's rotating on Monday. Fingers crossed. They did not guarantee bans on Monday. You are correct in that they did not guarantee bans. They also something to note is that one of the grand finale's competitors mentioned on Twitter that Wizards emailed them confirming that Historic will not have changes on Monday. So if there are changes coming Monday, they're only coming to Standard. Historic, they're happy with. Player Beacon out first here, so we can drop Ugin. Gain an extra life. No, I imagine if they're going to change things on Monday, they'll just announce the changes straight away.
I am Karn. My allies are counting on me.
My sweet, sweet Platinum Angel, chat. Platinum Angel, please won't you save me? So that's about how I'd expect that matchup to go. You saw us get pretty roughed up the first game when we did not have any access to our sweeper effects, and then in the post-board games, our Extinction Events really punched the clock and went to work, keeping their board in check. What's up, my dude?
I'm trying to find my phone.
You're trying to find your phone? You had it down here a second ago. Did you set it down? Did you ask Mom to ring it for you? Mommy said no. Mommy's probably got a point. You probably shouldn't lose your phone. This is why most people don't give phones to 5-year-olds. But your father's a sucker. He was initially given the device to play Pokemon Go, and now he mostly watches Amazon Video on it. Believe it or not, he spends a lot of time watching people play video games. Andrew was playing Grixis Wizards last I checked, so probably a Thoughtseize deck. Oh, we're gonna get Neoformed. Oh, yeah, get Thoughtseize. Good top deck. Till he finds out he can ask Alexa to call his phone. What do you think this is? Oh, he put the quasi-duplicate combo into it. We were talking about this in a Discord chat. So quasi-duplicate also combos with Dualcaster Mage to make infinite. You quasi-duplicate a creature you have in play, and then you Dualcaster Mage it to copy the Dualcaster Mage. So it's 6 mana, make infinite 2/2s. They don't have haste, but you'll kill them the next turn. Dr. Jazzin, thanks for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Wow, he hit with Augur of Bolas. What a lucker. This card's supposed to read, rearrange the bottom 3 cards of your library, chat. I've been bamboozled. It looks like he talked his mother into ringing his phone for him. For those of you who are unaware, if you have a family account set up with Google, you can pull up their devices on Family Link and make them play a sound wherever they are. So, assuming their battery hasn't died, you can find them. Confident Declan would no longer have a phone if that feature didn't exist. Wow, look at the audacity. So confident in hitting with Augur of Bolas, they cloned the Augur of Bolas. Alright, I'm gonna cage the elephant here. Because there ain't no rest for the wicked, chat. Please Pact of Negation me so I can Bloodchief thirst your Gilded Goose. Oh, yeah. You know just what I like, Daddy. Got him. Alright, so for this matchup, I think I board in 2 cages. I'll leave 1 on the board to fetch up. Ugin and Hedron are slow. We'll bring in the extra Agonizing Remorse. Bring in an Extinction Event. I'll bring in leave 1 Hedron Archive in. Pact has a downside after all. It does. If you are not winning that turn, it has a very real downside. Hey, Dude Light, thanks for the tip. I assume that's for the Rune Tear deck you submitted. Yeah, that'd be dragons. Sounds good. Definitely mulliganing for Disruption, right? Says Karn the Greek Creator on 3. Send me up. Bottom of Guardian Idol. Toxic Streamer beats his own son. Listen, I've known Andrew far longer than he's been giving me money on Twitch. Or been giving me Mike Bezos, Jeff Bezos money on Twitch. Mike Bezos. You know, there were names in there. Names were said. You just spike the Grafdigger's Cage, all natural there on 2. Guardian Idol, unlike Mind Stone, notably comes into play tapped, so I could not Guardian Idol and Cage there. Joke's on you, opponent. I brought my backup Grafdigger's Cage. Please don't combo me. Please don't combo me. Dang it, Bobby. That was the one thing I explicitly asked you not to do. For people that haven't seen the opponent's deck, I'm going to let my buddy click through the combo here. We played this archetype this morning. So you use the Seagate Stormcaller to copy your next spell. Then you Neoform the Caller into Dualcaster Mage here, which gets 4 Dualcaster Mages, which gets a bunch of clones, which gets a Tuk Scrap Heap or whatever it's called to give them haste, and then you kill the opponent. There's a 1-1 visually there for a brief moment in time. There's the Rubble Fort. Historic staple Tuk Rubble Fort. Does Guardian Idol still tap itself when you use the auto tapper for its ability? Would you believe I've never trusted the auto tapper enough to find out? Christy and I have been finally cleaning out our garage almost 2 years after we moved into this house. And I have not been to a gym in a very long time. And my body is very soft and squishy, chat. I probably should invest in a weight set and some equipment since the pandemic's not going to be ending anytime soon. But a gym in the garage. We do have a 2-car plus 1 stuff garage, which some people would call a 3-car garage, but definitely 2-car plus 1 stuff. So once we finish cleaning it out, that might be an okay place to put some equipment. It's like 3 times the cost of everything for extra equipment. Yeah, I believe that. What I realistically should do is look up some body weight exercises. Just means you don't have enough cars. 2 cars plus stuff is the Midwest special. Yep. Alright, see, our old house had a 1-car plus stuff garage, which meant our second car had to sit on the driveway. It was no good. It was a bad system. Put a gym next to the playground set. That was actually fun. So, I had mentioned before, pre-pandemic, Christy and I have been saving up money to refinish the unfinished room in my basement into a studio space to use for streaming. Post-pandemic, it's like not a huge upgrade, especially with the RTX voice, so we decided to put that on hold rather than having a bunch of contractors into the house. So we ordered the kids a playground for the backyard with the money that we'd been saving, and that came in the mail via UPS freight the other day. And apparently UPS freight has been getting sued by people when they put stuff into their garage, so they're not allowed to go into their garage. So I had a UPS guy drop off 1,300 pounds worth of playground equipment on my driveway that I then had to transport into my garage while we wait to set it up. That might also be contributing to why I am sore. That's your gym right there, yep. Anything useful to get with this? I don't actually know.
I will not lose another friend.
Hedron Archive's actually like not terrible. I think it's Hedron Archive. You have your children hold very tight onto a broomstick and bench press them. Night Stars, thank you for the 30 months, 2.5 years of support. In fact, speaking of Night Stars resub there, I was thinking about unironically labeling the playground the Twitch Prime Playground, because in a way that's really what paid for it. Yeah, home playground equipment isn't really rated for adult body weight. Like, you're right. Like, normal park equipment is weighted for a lot more weight than this will be. Yeah, I probably should have tapped these and left this up to draw 2 with, huh? Mistakes were made. As a Twitch Prime sub, I demand the right to play on it. Chromatic Chaos, thank you for the 12 months. I appreciate the entire year. Welcome back. Well, if it was the right play last turn, it's probably the right play again this turn, right? Hey, look, they rearranged the bottom 3 cards of their deck. Just like the good Lord intended. There's the augur we know and love.
I back the poison, I will rid you of your corruption.
Look at that. 2 mana sacrifice a creature. What value? As an Amazon employee, if I sub with my own money, is that still Bezo bucks? Asking the real questions. See, Andrew had to mouse over Cryptic Caves there like some kind of casual. Doesn't know what historic staple Cryptic Caves does very clearly here.
Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah, Andrew is Klets, by the way. He's part of our 5-person production team for the Glande Opens as well. He's the one that makes time-shifted feature matches possible. Oh, Crucible. Alright, when we draw this 4th Karn the Great Creator, we are going to get the crap out of Crucible. We are going to mauling the crap out of these Augur Bolas's, chat. Look at that. They have 6 lands in play and mauling still costs 3. You love to see it. Yeah, Karn is only non-creature artifacts, right? Yeah. Alright. Mike and I are friends. There shouldn't be secrets between us. I think we just take the Stormcaller. Nice. Very nice. Hey, Shimma Shimma. Man, we're about to lose to these Augur and Bolasses, aren't we, chat? It's gonna be real embarrassing. Well, I mean, if it was the right decision last time, it's the right decision this time, right?
I have faced a curious choice.
What are the odds this Field of Ruin is a wasteland? High? Oh, I didn't mute him, I just clicked on him. Is that what mute looks like? Unmute. Alright, no, yeah, it says unmute if they're muted.
futile. The choices we make
Yeah, Augur heard us talking crap, and he's like, I'm not gonna stand for that. Man, we're about to get Pact of Negations here, and it isn't gonna be pretty, chat. We're gonna get Pact of Negated. These Augurs are gonna continue giving us the business. Oh, God. Oh, everything went so terribly wrong, chat. Alright, we get to kill one. Alright, so these Augurs are gonna put Karn to 1, and then I can down-tick Karn to get a buried rune, and then buried rune can get me back an artifact. Don't you dare Spike Field Hazard him. Have a heart. I have double Hagra Mauling. Alright, I'm gonna attempt to kill copies of Augur of Bolas. Yeah, we played 4-pack this morning, Rhino, and it was great. How convenient. Dang it, lands. Why didn't I tap the Interplanar Beacon? They're gonna give me a Thoughtseize and I'm not gonna be able to cast it. Damn it. That's super unfortunate. I tapped for the first one, and then I didn't tap it for the second one.
Please stop.
Are you playing Standard or Historic, D-Price? Hey, that's a good one. Alright, what are you doing? Show me what you're working with. Credit to these Interplanar Beacons while was that a good draw? While these Interplanar Beacons have not been stellar in terms of auto tapping, they've been great in terms of gaining life. Yeah, there's a reason why I took Standard off my schedule until Monday. Man, God bless you, Grafdigger's Cage. God bless you, Grafdigger's Cage. Yeah, they even peeled the Stormcaller, so if we had the cage, we would have been got there. That was a good set. I agree. Your deck, like, actually generated, like, good games of Magic. Except the part where you won. It's been reasonable, Elodox. There's so many... So, I think the good decks are a little bit better than a lot of the other decks in this format right now. But I also think, like, there's enough people playing brews on the ladder that, like, we still get a lot of good matches in Historic. And I'm really excited to see what ends up doing well at the tournament on the 3rd. So, if you're someone who really enjoys brewing, and you like brewing in the Historic format, on October 3rd, we're going to be having another one of our Hooglandia Opens that we're calling Modified Historic. It is the current Historic format with Muxus, Uro, and Claim the Firstborn all banned. If you would like to brew a little bit without the best decks being as oppressive as they are on the ladder, feel free to drop in and play some Sweet Magic with us. I do. Jim Davis is going to be my second for the weekend. So cool. Cool Stuff Inc. sponsors a number of players, and they offered to pay my co-commentator for the day if I used another Cool Stuff Inc. sponsored player. And Jim was on my list of people to reach out to at some point anyway, so it worked out real well. Excited to work with him. Does Melee let you blanket ban cards? So Melee does not submit custom ban lists currently. So it is just set as historic on Melee, and then we will be manually DQing / dropping people from the event that submit a legal deck list. So don't submit an illegal deck list. Evil cannot withstand a righteous army. November 3rd's coming soon. Be a righteous army and go vote, chat. Was Corey in on the hot singles bit? I told him that I was going to do something to that effect, but I did not tell him when, and I did not tell him what it was. So he was not fully prepped in advance. I don't like to drop things like that on people, because like was part of the show, so if he wasn't comfortable with me poking fun like that, I didn't want to do that. Best to ask permission in situations like that. Shadowspear plus Platinum Angel could drag us kicking and screaming across this finish line. Made in Nihon. Thank you for the 7 months. I appreciate the prime. Welcome back. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Do do. Do 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 do. That's what I'm talking about. That's one Platinum Angel, baby. One Platinum Angel. We're gonna cut the 2 Agonizing Remorses and a Thoughtseize and bring in some Extinction Events and call it a day. Yeah, cut a Ugin too. Let's do that. Normally I like to say if you didn't win the game at 1 life, you didn't use all your resources as efficiently as you possibly could. So what does that mean when you win at 0 life? Most efficient. Sure. That's a good draw. Can I take Thermo Alchemist here? They're not casting this for a little bit, right? Out their current hand. We're going to lead on Interplanar Beacon on 2, so that if we draw another Beacon on 3, we can play it and gain 2 with this card. It's a good pickup for them. Fills their curve out nicely. Speaking of filling our curve out nicely. I'm going to play Mind Stone, and I'm going to go ahead and play Stonecoil Serpent for 1 here. So this way they have to choose. If they don't draw a land, they have to choose between killing this to attack me and killing my Mind Stone this turn. Because ideally, I'd like to untap with Mind Stone and play Karn the Great Creator. Yeah, you can have draw games in Magic, Crackster. So a lot of people incorrectly assume that Magic is a best of 3 game when actually Tournament Magic is played as a first to get 2 wins game. So Magic Arena does support playing a game 4. We've done that on stream a few different times. That's a rude one. Well, they missed the Roiling Vortex activation there.
I will rid you of your corruption.
Best of 3 is just a better way to say it. Of course, best of 3 is just another better way to say it. It's being pedantic. That's just rude. And just do this now at sorcery speed. Has Crucible of Worlds interactive spell edge. You can play them as the land side is correct. Yeah, I agree, Stark. I like saving the instant speed removal against a deck that could threaten haste. Evening, Emberwatch. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I've been enjoying the split schedule too. In fact, one of the questions on my October sub-survey that'll go out on the 4th is going to be asking about how people feel about the split schedule. Because even once the world goes back to some amount of normal, it's something I might consider keeping, because I've been enjoying the kind of little bit in the morning, little bit in the evening. Our decks felt super reasonable. Had a number of very competitive and interesting games. I think there's lots of different ways to build mono black control, and this one seems like it's on the list of reasonable ones. There's a pretty different variation up on my website. Definitely feels like something that's competitive in this format, though. I am Karn.
I will not stop.
Do I get Shadowspear or Platinum Angel? I think it's Platinum Angel, right? Gonna elect to not Thoughtseize. I'd prefer to not be dead to a deal 3. This is a good use of your wild cards. This card's very good. Should be in almost every black historic deck and most black standard decks. Secrets manifest before you. So this gets to go get Shadowspear. And then Are we about to 2-0 mono red? Is that what our life is right now? Are we about to 2-0 mono red, chat? Yeah, if you're trying to keep up with it, keeping up with historic free-to-play is probably pretty impossible. That'll eventually get better, because, like, right now they're playing catch-up. But I imagine until Pioneer Masters drops, people who are trying to play this format, their wildcards will be real taxed. If it makes you feel better, I'm not done with Amonkhet either. I can't keep up with standard or historic as free to play. That doesn't surprise me. Now, the really nice thing about historic is that, like, once historic stabilizes a little bit, as a free to play player, you can build one deck and then play it forever. Like, in theory, a non-rotating format that you can free to play into should have a good long-term return. It's just, historic is still currently going through growing pains where it's changing a lot, right? So, I've not really at any point tonight wanted a Forsaken Monument. I don't know what problem we really have that card fixes. I mean, to be fair, like, seeing how Wizards has chosen to manage Modern over the years, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, a lot of those things that, like, we're doing in our custom format for the third, like, stay legal forever in Historic. Like, generally speaking, Wizards tends to take a pretty hands-off approach to their non-rotating formats. I would like to Thoughtseize your land. Thanks. Read. Yeah, I mean, getting one deck probably isn't that much of a problem. It's the being able to get lots of decks that's an issue. I agree with that assessment, Gilger. This build having all of its ways to interact with creatures in the sideboard has not felt good. No, they haven't. I had hoped that the fact that they announced a suspended list was them meaning they were going to manage the format more, but that's not the way it's played out in practice at all. So, had we hit our land drops there, we would have been able to cage them before they escaped the Kroxa, but unfortunately we did not. God bless the block button on Twitter, chat. There really isn't. I had someone just take issue that I got added to the block list because I described the federal government executing someone with the word evil. And I honestly can't think of a better word to describe our government executing our own citizens other than evil. Does Twitter tell you how long your block list is? There's a tool that does it. Mine was under, my block list was under 4 digits last I checked, but we might be edging in on that point. Duress is why I kept this hand even though it's very slow. Like, you don't make your hand better by mulliganing against the deck full of discard spells. Your deck list submission form having problems is probably on your end. It's a Google form, so unless all of Google's things are down, it should work no problem. I don't appear to have any that I haven't responded to yet. Again, leading on the Interplanar Beacons here, so that way if I draw a 3rd beacon next turn, I can play it out and gain 3 life. I think Google is down. I couldn't get into my Google Keep. Maybe Google's having some issues. I guess that occasionally happens. I suppose. Our perfect mana here. They have a deal 1 at end of turn. They can kill this on their untaps or open a dodge spike field here. Stonecoil Serpent. Wonder if they got like a Spark here. Or like a Bedevil to kill Karn. Looks like a Spark Harvest. Well, I mean, at least they're not lying to themselves, right? They know what they are. And a village writes a token here, I assume. Keep that gas flowing. So our best draw here is an Ugin followed by an Extinction Event. We get 1 draw at Ugin. I get a couple draws at Extinction Event. Because I can cycle the Hedron Archive. Well, historically speaking, most democracies last about 250 years. And like, you know, 2026 will be 250 for the US. Seasoned Pyromancer. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for the 12 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. None of those were the droids I wanted for Christmas. We're not dead on board, but we're not in a great spot here. Joke's on you. Duress this. Ugh. This is why we cleverly waste creating an uncomfortable amount of existential dread. Welcome to my life. In some ways, I'm kind of jealous of the average Trump supporter, because to be so incredibly stupid to support that man, you're probably happier not really understanding what goes on in life. I think we're dead at this point, right? I need a sweeper and a Grafdigger's cage. Neither of which we've got. I have to assume it is. Cursed knowledge definitely isn't bliss. Yeah, let's try one more before we call it a night. Stick's been alright. I think I'm going to cut the Agonizing Remorses to the sideboard here, though, and put my Extinction Events main. The Stonecoil Serpents have been pretty mediocre, too. I think I'm going to cut those. Actually, just put all my events in the main. What else? What do I want in the sideboard? I feel like I wouldn't mind an extra threat. Maybe I just leave Stonecoil in the board to fetch on occasion with Karn. It's probably not a terrible idea. Let's put a Remorse in for now. Now, I'm pretty sure there's been studies that people who are bigots tend to have lower average IQ. And that's not to say that if you're a bigot, you're guaranteed to be stupid, but you're more likely to, I would bet is the case. Nah, I don't really enjoy social deduction games, Team Flogger. Also, putting a bunch of random people on voice on my Twitch channel is a good way to get my channel banned. So, I'm gonna skip doing that. So they're playing Luris, so I probably want to keep Extinction Event here. Glad we loaded these up into the main. Yeah, IQ in general isn't a good measure of aptitude. How long may I keep doing variety segments? I don't really intend to stop anytime soon. I've been enjoying doing them. Remember when we put Extinction Event into the main before this set, chat? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Try and find some lands here. Morrowind has been fun. I agree. I've been enjoying most of them, honestly. We're Nah, there's a lot of people, Rhino, who are hateful and bigoted that have not led a comfortable life. And there's definitely a huge misunderstanding among people. There are a lot of people, many of whom aren't well educated, that hear the word privilege and they assume that if there's someone who has privilege, it means that their life's been easy. They don't understand that the context of that discussion is it simply means their life's been marginally less hard. Like, there's plenty of people who, you know, have lived hard lives, but still, like, you know, their life would be harder than it was if they were, you know, a minority or someone of a huge different range other than a white male. We're just caging the elephant here. Sounds pretty good, game one.
Evil must not be conquered. You will not threaten this world. Good choice. Please stop.
Evening, Seth. I think we just Extinction Event here, huh? Let's start with plussing Karn, see what we get.
I'll make use of that later.
This play's a little bit odd, but I think it's the one we have to make. And I think I just cash this in
My grief.
and just, like, get backup Grafdigger's cage here just to make sure they're locked out. Opponent concurs. I like boarding in one cage here. I like leaving two in the sideboard because they're likely to kill one. We just trim like one Thoughtseize with this board setup now. Sure. Straw Black Swords. I haven't really felt like we've had an issue closing out games. I don't, and like, I was gonna say to not speak ill of your dad, but I'm gonna be honest, to speak ill of your father, to like, you have to be incredibly blind, dumb, or something to like look at what Trump's done in the last 4 years, the actions he's taken, the things he said, and think that he's in any way different than any of the people that have been politicians for their entire lives. He, like, I don't, and we talked about this before, like, I don't fault people who voted Trump in 2016 thinking that maybe he could be different, and maybe they weren't familiar with the fact that he's a rapist and a sociopath and a chronological, pathological liar. Like, maybe you just weren't paying attention to that. But since then, anybody that's still been on the Trump train since, like, 2018, I think in the first 2 years as president, you should have seen plenty. There was plenty to see.
Well chosen.
I guess you just, like, Luris replay the Dreadhorde since we sacked it. If you thought that's what's just occurred in this chat asymmetric, it's definitely not the case. What we were discussing was how those things are a factor in everything, because they are a factor in everything. Titan MD, thanks to the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome to Hoaglandia. I got plenty of spells. Pick your favorite. Honestly, Hedron Archive. I guess they probably just can't beat Ugin the Spirit Dragon, so I assume that's gonna go away. Our hand's got a bunch of bangers in it. Oh, that's our Cage the Elephant. Sure. Sure, that makes sense. Okay, that's nice. This is another Karn over here. Start by drawing a card and see what we get. I want them to see this before they decide if they want to give us a land or not. What are my thoughts on formats where they are right now? I think Historic's pretty close to reasonable. I think there's a few cards that are a little bit too pushed that the format would be better off without them, and that's why we're banning those cards from our modified Historic tournament that's going to be coming up. That's those being Uro, Claim the Firstborn, and Uro, Claim the Firstborn, or whatever that other thing is. Muxus. That being said, Historic, like most non-rotating formats, has enough people playing bad decks in it that, like, even with those things being pretty obnoxious, it's like not that big of a deal because there's still a lot of variety on the ladder. Like, there honestly just haven't been that many people playing goblins recently on the ladder. So, like, the fact that that card's offensive and obnoxious, like, isn't a big deal if people aren't playing it. It really feels like with Jumpstart and Amonkhet Remastered, this format's grown up into its own identity, similar to how Modern was for a long time. Standard needs bans. Standard Uro needs to go at a minimum. I agree that Pact of Negation is not a card that should have been added to this format. It largely does not create healthy games. Just played against 4-color Omnath for 6 out of 7 standard matches. Yep, sounds about average. Alright, am I holding this to cycle? I think I'm holding Hedron to cycle here. And get some manual taps on here. Yeah, Runeterra is sweet. I like Runeterra in general from the core gameplay perspective. It's actually been a little bit medium on this patch. The buff they did to Lee Sin has created some really combo-centric gameplay that I don't think is super healthy. I'd be kind of surprised if they don't change or adjust that. Oh, the way I tapped here, I can't hold up Mauling to kill this. It's actually a really big mistake, huh? So if I play better here, I don't get Thoughtseized. I don't get Bedeviled. Yeah. Yeah, this is a pretty big mistake here.
Lost is now returned.
See if they got another way to kill a cage here. Yeah, that's fine, Seth. I like dollars. This is gonna be our last match with this one, so if you'd like to cut in for the last one of the night, that'd be fine. As impactful as the rest. So, I don't know that so, if I personally was given the choice on what I wanted to add to Historic, I wouldn't specifically pick cards that I wanted to be impactful so much as I would pick cards that I thought were sweet. So, like, my wish list for Historic is, like, a bunch of sweet Innistrad cards. Like, I would like to see Garruk Relentless, and Delver of Secrets, and Huntmaster of Fells, and Lingering Souls. Battle of Wits would be a great addition to this format. Gravecrawler would be sweet. As an older throwback, I would love to see Vendilion Click added to Historic. I think that card's incredibly awesome. Hey, thanks for the 10 months, Sambe. I appreciate that. Welcome back. What's it called? The original Kaya Planeswalker from Conspiracy or whatever that was printed in. I would love to see that card added. Kaya Ghost Assassin. Yeah, that's the one. I think Kaya Ghost Assassin might be my favorite Planeswalker design of all time. It's just incredibly unique and sweet. Yeah, Vendilion Click's a good example of a card that's just like a good rate and is a card that gives you lots of choices. Gives you lots of opportunity to mess up and lots of ways to play it right and wrong. Oh, I guess I could have made this a 2-2 without paying mana. Yeah, that's better. To the person that just suggested we add Blood Moon to Historic, your timeout should tell you all I need to know about that opinion. Does that Saffronala's alt account? Asking the real questions. Alright, we're gonna Buried Rune and pick back up Hedron Archive to draw 2. Does her blink reset her loyalty? It does, Ardan, that's why she's really sweet. She down ticks and then she blinks to reset back up, as opposed to going up and then having an ultimate. Really, really sweet and unique design. Aggro seems like a good way to beat Blood Moon. You'd think so, but occasionally the Blood Moon player is going to be on the play, and you're just going to have 2 Shocklands in your opener, and you're not going to get to play Magic. Speaking as someone who's played a lot of blue-red decks, even 2-color aggro decks get Blood Moon on occasion. Bloodbraid Elf. Bloodbraid Elf would be a sweet one. I hope they take Historic as an opportunity to add all of the sweet cards that have just ended up not being Legacy or Modern playable over the years that people just love playing Magic with. If this format's a slightly lower power level, Seth, thank you for the absurd tip. I appreciate it. Yeah, like Birthing Pod. Although that one's banned in Modern, so that's probably not a possibility. take a peekaboo at what that tip is for. Said you had a deck for me. For landfall aggro, do you have a specific list, Seth? Or do you want me to put something together? Tassiger for Historic. I think I'd prefer Delve cards didn't exist in this format. Although I guess we're guaranteed getting those at some point anyways, though, right? Because the Delve cards are Pioneer legal. Remember, all of Pioneer is eventually coming to Historic and Magic Arena, which is why when people ask me like what cards do I want to see, I tend to list cards that are not Pioneer legal. Which is why a lot of my favorites from Innistrad come up, because that was the first set out of the Pioneer legal sets. This deck felt super reasonable overall. I like having the sweepers in the main deck, so things definitely got better, I feel, after we moved those Extinction Events main. Last time, this deck is still good for the same reason it felt good last time we played that, which is Grafdigger's Cage is such a good card in this format right now, and I think you can justify main decking it even in a lot of spots, and Karn, the Great Creator, basically gives us a way to main deck 4 Grafdigger's Cages without ever having to have Grafdigger's Cage when it's not ideal. So I think a lot of the strength in these builds of this deck are related to the fact that this card is just such an ace in this format overall. All right. Seth did a donation